Welcome everybody, Steve Adler here, Friarhood.com. Give us a follow on Twitter at Friarhood, like us on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about off-season moves. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is going to be pretty quick. Not a lot of off-season moves for the Padres. I get that. I'm with you on that. So we'll cover the off-season moves pretty quick. Padres made a trade during the offseason, acquired a pitcher by the name of Tyson Ross. Yes, he is related to Joe Ross, Padres prospect. He's the older brother. He was acquired with a minor league player for Andy Perino and Andrew Werner. Good luck to Andy, good luck to Andrew, both good guys. Had an opportunity to get to know them as they were coming up through the system. Hello, Tyson Ross. Tyson Ross, by the way, perfect type of candidate for the San Diego Padres. Why, you may ask? Simple. He's young, he's controllable, and he's got plenty of upside. He didn't cost the Padres anything. Andy Perino really never had a spot with the Padres. Andrew Werner, another lefty. Tyson Ross, tons of upside. Controllable, young, perfect. We'll see how it works out. He may be a bullpen arm, he may be a starter. I'd say he gets some starts this year. We'll find out. Obviously, some of that may also be determined by injuries. But Tyson Ross, very interesting acquisition. The other acquisition, which is really not an acquisition as much as is a reacquisition, Jason Marquis. Jason Marquis signed as a free agent, re-signed with the Padres for $3 million. It's not sexy. You might be frustrated. That's okay. I think Jason Marquis' value is a lot bigger than just here's another guy in the rotation. And Jason Marquis is a guy who could be a back-end rotation starter on a lot of other teams. But in San Diego, he's a guy who, well, he's the middle of the rotation, back-at-the-end rotation guy. But more importantly, when you have guys like Anthony Bass, Andrew Cashner, Corey Lukey, Joe Wieland, Casey Kelly, Robbie Erland, you have all these young kids who are coming up. It's important that they have someone who is a professional, who's been in the league a while, who they can watch. Maybe they don't always talk to, but that they can watch and see how a professional works, how he prepares, how he watches tape. Those things are important. So for $3 million, will the Padres get some starts out of Jason Marquis? Absolutely. His ERA wasn't great last year, but he put up solid numbers for the Padres. What you should know is that he's going to bring a lot more in terms of intangibles to this young pitching staff that the Padres will have, and that's really where his value is. It's always hard to quantify leadership. People always talked about that with David Eckstein. It's hard to quantify leadership, but I think Jason Marquis is a guy who is worth a couple extra bucks because he's going to help the Padres young pitchers. That's it. Those are the moves. Now you might be sitting there going, you might be one of two schools. School number one, you're sitting here going, well, you know what? Padres are trying to be patient. They see the Tampa Bay Rays model. They're trying to be patient, build from within, minor leaguers, develop. Okay, I get that. Model number two. What the hell is going on here? These guys got a new TV deal. We got new owners. How come they aren't spending any money? This is unacceptable. This is boring baseball. It was a fourth place team. This is ridiculous. I don't know what side you're on. I need you to tell me. But I've seen both sides. Now here's where I am. Because this guy tends to feel like you should have spent whatever you needed to spend to bring guys in. You should have spent $30 million and brought in Josh Hamilton. You should have spent $15 million a year and given Edwin Jackson that extra contract. I don't know. I'm not this guy. I'm not this guy. I'm kind of in the middle. I think that the Padres were taken back a little bit by how large and how inflated the free agent market is. And it was. At the same time, I think they have the money. I know Scott Miller from Yahoo, I believe, or CBS, I apologize, came out and said the Padres are broke, they don't have any money. And his reasoning was they didn't spend any money, so they must not have any. That's ridiculous. The Padres didn't spend any money because there wasn't anyone worth spending money on. Now, hindsight is 2020. And there are some of you who may say, well, you know what? There were a couple deals out there that could have been had. I agree with you. And right now we're sitting here going, okay, now we can take a look back at the free agent market and think, yeah, sounds good. give Dan Herron $13 million. My understanding was Dan Herron was not going to sign in San Diego for 1 year. He wanted a multi-year deal. Are you willing to commit 2 years, $24 million to Dan Herron? I don't know. I'd commit 1 year's $13 million. I'm good with that. But 2 years, 24? And by the way, 1 year's $13 million on a Padre team that finished in 4th place last year, is Dan Herron a difference maker? Is he that last piece that's going to get you into the playoffs? Is it worth it to waste $13 million if you're the Padres to finish in 3rd? That's a tough call. The other guy who I would have loved to see the Padres bring in is Michael Bourn. Yeah, Michael Bourn. $12 million a year. That's all he got, $12 million a year. One of the best center fielders in baseball. Table setter at the top of the lineup. Great defense. Now I know you might be thinking, well, they do have Cameron Maybin. Yeah, I get it. They have Cameron Maybin. Cameron Maybin's got all tons of upside. He's under contract. I'm happy to move Cameron Maybin to right field and let a professional like Michael Bourn handle center field and do his thing. Those two guys, Dan Herron, Michael Bourn, all of a sudden there's buzz. Padres have a fantastic outfield. You can move Will Venable, I get that. But if I told you today that the Padres went out and signed Dan Herron to a 2-year deal for $24 million and Michael Bourn to a 5-year deal worth $60 million, how does it change your perspective? Because those are the only 2 deals that I see that would have made a lot of sense for this Padres team. Otherwise, everybody else, Brandon McCarthy's the other guy. I like Brandon McCarthy, but Josh Burns came out and said, we're not trying to bring in guys who are coming off an injury-plagued season. So I get why they didn't bring in Brandon McCarthy. Brandon McCarthy's the only other guy who I can think of and say, it would have been nice. Not a huge Sean Markham fan. There's really nobody else that I could see that was going to be worth that kind of money to the Padres. My question for you is this. Which side are you on? Maybe you're in the middle like I am. What would you have liked to have seen the Padres done during the offseason? What kind of moves? Obviously, if you're A guy or you're B guy or you're just me guy, what would you have liked to have seen? That's my question for you. Go ahead and mention it in the comments. Love to hear your responses. Make sure that you jump onto Facebook. Find the Friarhood. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Friarhood. Check out Friarhood.com often. You can also get your Friarhood gear. Friarhood gear at Friarhood.com/shop. Subscribe to the Friarhood TV channel. I think I've plugged just about everything at this point. Also, give me a follow if you're on Twitter at Steve_Adler. Until next time, go Padres.